Hello, peoples. It's time. This is Tempest Tenebrarum, home of all things White Wolf and World of Darkness. We're here every other Tuesday sitting around bullshitting about our favorite role-playing games. I'm your host, Peter, and my co-host, Eric. Say hello, Eric.
What's up, man?
Joining us tonight, we have Stephen and Ken. Ken will be coming back from last show because he's just that kind of guy. And tonight we're going to be talking about Werewolf and Pentex. So, say hello, Ken.
Hi. What's up?
And Stephen, would you please?
Yep. Hey guys, how's it going tonight? Hope everything's going good.
All right. So we're going to be doing this for the next 2 hours. Holy crap, we've already got 5 people in channel. Sorry, that was just a shock. As soon as I killed that window, I was like, whoa. No, I had actually gotten some really cool feedback prior to the show. So, but what we're going to do tonight is we're going to start off. Now, the general consensus for the show tonight is Pentex. But over the last 24 hours, the show and one of the hosts has had some serious issues with the Grand High Poobah of White Wolf, apparently. I also want to say hi to some folks in the channel. SD McDaniel, ex-girlfriend, introduced her to her husband. Wonderful lady. Everybody say hi to Shara.
Hello.
Hello.
And we've got Sumi, who I was trying to get on for this show, but they never gotten back with me, and of course, so we've got a whole bunch of other folks in the channel tonight. And I'm letting y'all know off top, if you got questions, throw them. We got no problem answering them. So, Stephen, I'm going to let you, since this is a major change for the format of the show, my co-host usually drops the first question. What I would want to do is, you and we need to talk about the toxicness of certain people in our community.
Correct.
Go, man.
Correct. Hey guys, my name's Steve Stallkamp. Goodness, I've been playing White Wolf for close to 10 years. I'm mostly an old school player. I really enjoy Old World of Darkness as well as Vampire the Masquerade, MET. Now, I've been around the LARPing community for a very long time. I've done everything from Vampire Parlor LARP to, Lightning Bolt, Buffer LARP for fantasies. But I always come across the same issue that keeps popping up in small groups, and that has to do with the social politics aspect of a game that is driven very heavily by competition between players, and how the toxicity of that type of mentality can seep into the game itself and kind of influence the environment to where games inevitably implode on themselves, and what we as players, as responsible players, can do to curb that. I know it's not the often a topic that's brought up lightly, but I definitely feel like it needs to be addressed, especially moving forward into kind of a new era of LARP, especially coming from White Wolf. As White Wolf is, they do put out LARPs that are very polarizing when it comes to players, politics, etc., especially when when we get into the vampire scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it
also
affects new players too.
Oddly enough, vampire does tend to, werewolf doesn't seem to draw this kind of person for some weird ass reason. It's mostly vampire.
Yeah,
it's Guru has a different mentality to the game format, though. I think
absolutely. No, I completely agree. I definitely think the different genres pull in the different types of players. For myself, I played for 6.5 years in another kind of a splinter org known as One World by Night, and my initial entrance into that environment was way different than a troop game. And this ultimately brought about the question, are these games, or the developers even, were they intending for their games to be played on this kind of scale with this kind of social politics?
No, Justin Achille, they did not expect that.
Yeah.
I actually brought that up on his show. And he said, you guys had no clue what was going to happen happened. The way the game would blow up like it did.
Yeah. Huh.
They just thought they were just, going to be, how should I put it, catering to a niche group, and that they would never actually get the number of players that D&D would have because it is such a niche group. But then they opened up all the other lines, Wraith, Mage, Werewolf, and they just weren't ready. They just weren't ready.
So I have a question for everybody then. What was your first character experience?
Good or bad?
Yeah, that'd be my question.
Like your very first one, like what was your first character? How were you introduced to the game?
Shara was there.
Kind of thing?
Storm was there the night we went to go play. I went to go LARP at NC State. And at that time, I was sure I wanted to be a toreador because of my music background. But then I got to talking to some of the storytellers and ASTs and said, no, you need to go Tremere. You really do. And I was like, why? And they said, well, you've already got all the cool accoutrements, to go with the whole magic, thaumaturgy thing. So,
Dude, I actually have a weird... The first LARPs I ever got involved with, because I'd always wanted to start playing one, because I couldn't find any good tabletop games in Austin at the time. So I was also doing Rocky Horror in Austin. So a lot of my friends from that cast, we got together and we made a game. And we started playing it. This was like the very early editions of Mind's Eye Theater and everything. And it was a hell of a lot of fun because we're all friends, we're all good friends, we're all actors in one way or another, and we usually just, hey, let's see if we can play how good we can fuck each other over, and then talk about it at Denny's afterwards about how good we are at fucking each other over.
Yeah.
For us, it was IHOP, but yeah,
exactly,
I got you.
Exactly. That is seriously how you have to do it.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like, we're friends. What's
I think
up?
it's written in the charter some fucking.
We're gonna play for about 3 hours. I'm gonna do some horrendous things to you, but I'll buy you a milkshake when we're done. All right, let's go.
Right.
My first
Reminds me of my
experience. My first LARPing experience was pretty funny because two of the people in this chat are actually involved in it. Now, this was back in the day when Old World Narcs, I want to say this was early 2000s, like 2004, 2005. And it started with a mutual friend of ours, and then eventually it kind of grew into something a lot bigger, and we needed more space. My dad had a warehouse, and we ended up playing downtown in one of my dad's warehouse, essentially, down there. And, it was just a good group of people. And for me, my first experience with Field LARP was, it was enjoyable. It's what drove me to continue. I played a Malkavian. It was fantastic.
Takes a special person to play a Malky, man.
It's true. It's
really
true.
Does.
Absolutely. But I would say that my first experience was positive. But as I kind of delved back into it, because I was a teenager at that time. Like later on, after I matured a little bit and was able to grasp the game and the environment more. I started finding the social flaws in it, especially in a game that kind of branched out a little too far, and it started bringing in a different type of person that was all about that had the me versus them mentality and the I want to win LARP mentality. And I think that's where it starts to disintegrate. That's where the integrity of the game begins to disintegrate, is when someone wants to win.
Yeah.
No, winning ain't got shit to do with it. It's how you play your character. It has nothing to do with winning or losing or winding up ash before the next morning. It doesn't matter. Especially if you go out on a high note.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying, when someone comes in with the I want to win mentality, that's when the integrity begins to fall away, when that begins to spread. When it becomes a game that can be won instead of a game about telling a story, that's when the toxicity begins to seep in.
And that's why they're called storytellers. And I think
Exactly.
a lot of people use the term, but they don't think about it. When they say, that's the same thing as a DM. I was like, no, it is not. Okay, most of the crazy stuff that happens in D&D is controlled by dice, not the story.
Yep.
I think for me, my first experience to the game, Matt brought me in.
I'm sorry,
right?
Dad. I just saw what you posted in the show. I'm sorry, man. I get a big kick out of this, doing this show just for that.
Everyone's a
watching the
Toreador.
chat.
So my first game, Matt pulls me to, and they suggested I be a ghoul. And I was like, cool, I'll be a ghoul. I don't know who I'm going to be a ghoul for. It turns out I was the ghoul to Higgy's girlfriend at the time. Right? So then I'm assigned to her.
A blood dog.
And it's to a degree. And, she, goes through this RP thing of giving me access to all her stuff. Essentially is just like, here, you can do all this and that. And I was like, all right, cool. And then,
I was asking about the feed.
Yeah, I'm about to check it. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta pull it. No, we're still live. Haven't lost anything.
All right, good. Right on.
And so halfway through the night, she dies. Right.
That's unfortunate.
And so I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm a ghoul, and so I'm sitting inside the haven, right? And I grab as much as I can. And I go to the shared ground, and I go to the Nosferatu, and I'm like, I need help. I was just ghouled today. I have no idea what's going on. And they're like, it'll cost you. What do you have? And I was like, I don't know. I've got this Tremere library. And they're like,
okay, how the fuck did you come by that?
And so, I had her Tremere library of 5, mine of 4. She had 6 different paths of research, and I was just like, help me here. I don't know what I'm doing. And they did. I ended up becoming the prince's, ghoul at that point. But it was kind of. But it's just one of those things where I didn't know any better.
As I was going to say about my personal experience with toxic people, it wasn't a LARP situation. It was this community that I have tried my best to serve, not just with this show, but in general. I've always tried to help where I could, just because this game line meant so much to me. Even the splats I don't play, I still care. And when somebody starts the Grand High Poobah I was talking about, decided that they were more worthy of respect from everybody around them because they make a whole bunch of posts or comments on Facebook. And I'm like, what the hell do you mean? What the hell do you mean? No, I am giving back to my community. You, on the other hand, are doing something. I ain't quite sure what, but just because you can put out 4 or 5 comments a day, that does not make you the Grand High Poobah of all things White Wolf. which is what I was having to deal with last night, and still today. We've lost 2 of our guests, including ones that are really, really hard to come by, Changeling. But I'm the bad guy when I call somebody out for acting like a complete douche. I am the bad guy because I'm being an asshole when I say, don't do that. You're not helping. Especially when it starts on my wall. Not the show, not a group, a White Wolf group, my wall. You don't get to come over and start telling me how I am supposed to react to anything on my wall. You don't like it? Unfriend me. I'm good. I got no problem. But I don't want to lose good folks who are more than willing to listen to our show every week and who are willing to give us freaking money to do it. I swore I would never monetize this show, and I never will. But if you feel you're like comfortable enough, like Ken and Sumi, to give us money to keep doing what we're doing, I will spend every penny of it on that. Exactly that. But don't come to me and say I'm the one who's the bad guy because I won't tolerate some craziness on my personal Facebook page.
All right, man. So what I wanted to touch on that has to do with like all of this that's going on in general, is that these games, okay, are meant for adults. Okay, they're designed for adults and people who are have an adult mentality. More importantly than that, they're made for people that know the difference between fantasy and reality. All right, there's just like, there's one side you have fantasy and one side you have reality, and they never cross.
Never right? The twain shall meet.
And with a lot of the issues that keep cropping up all over the place, there's always a thing where you're going to find people you don't like to play with, and you don't really have to. You don't have to play with people that you don't like, But the whole thing is that there's no need to be combative, over something like that.
And definitely
I really feel that people who are really going to be playing these games and dealing with what's in these games and has been there the entire time, if they need to figure out what's going on with them, all right? Because that they can't, that fantasy reality barrier, really needs to be enforced a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, but no,
absolutely.
But no, it's the same bloody snowflakes who got all bent out of shape over one 3-word sentence about Nazis in V5. It's those people we don't need in our fucking community.
I definitely, I was privy to that when that whole thing exploded.
Oh yeah.
It is silly. I mean, I understand where people are coming from with the current political climates, but at the same point in time, guys, it's a game.
It's a game.
It's a dark
oh my god!
Game. It is. It's a dark fantasy game. There are going to be adult content and themes, and people need to understand that. Like it's always been there. I mean, has anyone here had the opportunity? And I have, and it's a fantastic book, and I wish it was released. I had the opportunity to hold a physical copy of the MET Demon the Fallen book in my hands.
Oh,
and I got the chance to read through it. Yes, there was only about 30 of them released. And I don't know how my friend got a hold of it. He said he bought it
Don't
on
ask
eBay.
no questions.
Right? I'm not going to
Don't
ask
ask
any
no
questions.
questions.
But I got a chance to sit down, and I asked him if I could borrow it for a few days. And I sat down and I read the whole book because Demon the Fallen is probably by far one of my favorite genres that I wish they would bring back. Because it did touch on a lot of morality issues. And it was about, do you want to be good or evil? It was a very black
Yes.
and white system, more so than Wraith.
Yeah, but mine's Mummy, just saying. But go ahead.
I do like Mummy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I enjoy Mummy.
Love me some Mummy, yo.
But no, I mean, like it's an adult theme, and kind of going off of what Eric's saying is, be an adult about it. You're here playing a game, and by playing, it states right in the book that you accept these themes, and if you're not comfortable, walk
Then
away.
don't play the game.
Exactly. And I think it's some weird social obligation some people have that they stick around when obviously they're not suited for the content. And
it's like always, if you're not happy with a game, that's fine. Go make another game. There's no problem with that at all.
No, there are plenty of people
You
who
know?
are starting up new RPG lines all over the place.
Yep.
It's like it's not that big of a deal. I mean, seriously, you don't have to play with people you don't like.
No,
It's that
you
simple.
don't.
On
So
a side note,
anyway,
it is
I want
vital.
to touch on what Adam posted in the chat. He was D&D is a gateway drug for when we grow up and play World of Darkness.
Funny enough, that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually true. My first introduction to the RPG world was that box set of the original
The
D&D,
red box.
the one where the thief is up there trying to
The-
pry
the
the eyeball
basics.
out of the idol.
The basic set.
Yes, I had
The
a-
red box with the
Yeah,
with the
the one
dice
that
that you
you
had to
could
take a
use
crayon and
the
put
one
it in
you-
there and
the one you could
Yeah.
use the four-sided die as a caltrop.
Yep.
They eventually realized, hey, this is not something we want to be giving to
Those
children.
fuckers hurt, man. Fucking
Worse than
D4s.
Legos.
Oh, no shit.
No shit.
No, even Legos don't hurt as much as stepping on one of those old school four-siders, man. I shit you not.
On a side note, I did run into a mage in one game who was essentially a Legomancer. It was kind of badass.
Romancer. I love it.
Gotta love your
I
manners
love
here.
it.
Like he just rapidly assembled things out of Legos and reinforced them and used them as
what
Lego
tradition?
weapons and stuff. I don't know. He wasn't my character.
Oh,
But he was
okay.
just fun to play with.
Because I can feel a Sons of Ether or what's the other one? The other high tech mages.
No,
Oh,
he was super combat heavy. He just enjoyed Legos as
screw
a
the
kid and
Sons of
never
Ether.
let it go.
Those guys are dumb. Spaceships in the
whatever.
Umbra, man.
Whatever.
I hate that stuff.
All right, so let's move on to our subject for the night. I'm really interested in learning some shit about Pentex.
All
Man.
right.
More stuff.
Are you ready to have a corporate takeover?
Yeah, that's don't just
You
nobody.
are gonna
use
sell
the
us
word-
your company. You do realize that, right?
Nobody gets to use the corporation.
You
that
are,
shall,
yes,
the
that's right.
organization
Right.
that shall
Okay,
not be
if you
named.
don't, these guys are gonna come after you.
But like
Exactly.
I said, don't talk about him. Just I know Ken understands what I'm talking about now. Steven might not yet, but if the feed drops, you'll know what's up. There appears to be a lot of parallels between Pentex and the organization that shall not be named. What do you guys think?
I think
Oh no, I think they're a
was-
league all their own, man.
I think
Fomori.
they're great. The Fomori are great for a one-shot game if you want to play them as characters. But for me, they were always great as kind of like a monster manual kind of thing for
Yep.
Puppy. Because they could be so many different things. That's generally what I saw them as, is just the boogeyman in the closet.
I personally think they are a fantastic tool for
all kinds of games.
resource and influence heavy, specifically troop games. They offer a lot of MacGuffins.
They seem to. It looks like it's one of those corporations that can span multiple splats.
It can, and it's wonderful.
That sounded almost nefarious and shit. But you mentioned the Fomori.
There's a Giovanni that sits on the Pentex board of directors.
Oh, right? No shit, right? Oh, yes. I love it.
That's correct. Here, take these, put them in the chocolates, let everything be good. Thank you so much.
So what about the Fomori draw? What about Pentex that draws the Fomori? And I get the
Are you
answer,
talking about,
but I'm doing.
Are you talking about the Strike Team Freak Legion?
I'm just the reason I ask these questions is folks in the channel get a good cross section of what we're trying to talk about here.
Sorry, I'm getting excited.
I always interpreted Pentex as kind of like the Umbrella Corp meets any shady science like organization in the background of any cheesy sci-fi movie. So like it's chemical manipulation for a lot of it, where it's just polluting the food source and the water and your favorite drinks and stuff like that. And
I don't know if I mentioned it on air, but apparently Pentex was originally a petroleum company.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct. Do you know the name of the petroleum company?
That I don't know.
They were known as now I can't think of it. Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue.
I can explain Storm's question.
Okay, can you? Good. All right. Yeah. While he's trying to remember what the hell he was talking about, you go right ahead.
Right. So, a cairn is the puppy safe haven. You can't get in it without being a puppy, really, or contaminating it first. You have the worm, the weaver, and the wild. The weaver is technological influence, the worm is evil influence, and the wild is essentially the opposite of that.
Vampires are worm tainted.
Yes. So what happens is the worm is this giant madness that kind of just is there, and it's kind of the source for the Pentex corruption. And werewolves is pretty much the direct combatant to, like, Pentex in the most generic sense. Like, they're oil and water. When the cairn is only got wild spirits in it, it doesn't have, unless it's a Glasswalker cairn, but that's kind of a different thing. But when you introduce worm spirits into the cairn, you can start tainting the werewolves and start converting them into black spiral dancers, having them walk the spiral. And so a controlled, contaminated cairn is essentially what's becoming a BSD cairn. And the totem switch, it goes to totems of perversion instead of, the typical kind of thing. Yeah, it goes from Children of Gaia to BSD. Children of Gaia is a tribe, but it goes from the Guru to BSD. And so basically it's like, if you were to take it in the most simplistic kindergarten kind of concepts, it's like Captain Planet.
So you got it right. It was premium oil. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Can someone tell me who owned premium oil?
Oh, wait a minute. That's another good question for the Peanut Gallery. Let's see what they...
Fuck, I don't know that one, man.
Yeah, all right.
3 points. 3 points.
So who knows anything about Fomori?
But no, there was another question from Storm. So what use does Pentex put to these contaminated or controlled cairns?
They're breeding grounds and basically for BSD. And
they're evil scientists.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's other things they do with that.
Really?
That's
Ooh.
the base.
The new no man, the new sports drink from Pentex. Take our stuffed cockroach dolls.
Oh, wait a minute.
Very-
Hold on. Another question. But I thought the cairns were protected. How would Pentex be able to get into them to contaminate them?
Corruption.
Because
Yeah.
all right, that's a
worm
great
tank.
question, but I can answer this one. Hold on.
User error.
Basically,
Yes.
basically once the cairn has been corrupted and taken over by the worm, it's just like basically it's a hive, okay, and it kind of branches out from there. Now, what Pentex does is they're already worm tainted. They're a corporation that is trying to destroy the earth, basically, and make a whole lot of money doing it. They don't care what they do, so it's a cold corporate thing. So basically, how do they get into them is they kind of just walk up and say, "Hey, how's it going, guys? I need you to come here, and we're going to go have you infest this guy, and then we're going to give them guns and send them out."
Pretty much.
One of the other questions that I just have for my personal edification is who controls what the largest cairn in the world? What is it? Which group controls that one?
Oh man.
We're talking about Central Park.
Uktena?
Uktena, maybe? Really?
I mean, they are the oldest.
You're challenging parts of my brain that I don't remember.
I mean, I definitely know it's not Silverfang. That's for sure.
Yeah, no.
I want to say Uktena, or maybe even Glasswalkers, only because of just
of its
how
location.
Yeah.
So Tim has a great question. Is Pentex a Sabat influence corporation?
Absolutely.
Here's a couple of fun facts.
It's the
I
other
love
way around.
this. Yes, dude. A Giovanni sits on the board of directors of Pentex. Okay.
Yep.
and he sits there and basically gives a bunch of list of people to kill, and then he gets their souls as they taint them like crazy. There's actually a bunch of divisions within Pentex,
bastards.
and one of those divisions actually gives the Sabat things to do. They give them whatever they want and send them away at people.
Which subsidiary is that? There's a lot of them, by the way, for those wondering.
We build better tomorrows today.
That would be the Special Projects Division.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
really? All right.
I've got my book right in front of me, man.
Real quick.
Okay, so you're cheating.
Well, real quick
Is
to
that
kind
cheating?
of interject.
It's not. I'm just.
Yeah, hey, let
is-
Ken talk, man.
I'm just fucking with you.
As far as like major cairns, right? You've got Black Furies are in Greece. Bonars are in Washington D.C. Children of Gaia are in San Francisco. Fianna are all over Ireland. Get a Fenris
Okay, I
is
get
in
that.
Germany. Glasswalkers is Hong Kong. Red Talons is Alaska. Shadow Lords is Japan. Silent Striders is Casablanca. Silverfangs is Russia. Stargazes is Tibet. Uktena is Australia. And Wendigos are in Arizona. And the BSD are typically beneath the earth in their Trinity Hive, located in the deep-gutted grandmother Thunderworm, who is nestled underground near New Mexico.
But I didn't catch it if you mentioned who controls the Central Park cairn.
That would be the Bonars.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about them.
The Bonars, they're basically just a bunch of bums.
Right. To answer my question, who controlled Pentex before it was Pentex was pretty much oil. That was Jeremiah Lasater in 1865.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm.
And we're getting
Another
a
thing
lot of
that
answers to some of the questions in chat, so it's kind of hip.
Another thing that
Jeez.
Pentex likes to do, and this is a great way to mess with werewolves, is to buy the land that they're on
Mm-hmm.
and then develop it. That's what they do. They'll
They're Captain
poison
Planet.
the entire area and develop it. A bunch of lawyers. Excuse me, ma'am, you're going to have to leave now. What?
Wait a minute. What? Who are you answering? Hold on. I'm not. Oh,
So
jeez.
the BSD did come from the Roman Empire, if I remember correctly. And it was White Howlers. Yeah, White Howlers.
Oh, yeah, it was White Howlers.
Yeah, anyone can now walk the spiral. In essence, you fight it so much that it contaminates you to the point where you no longer are you. And you turn, essentially. That's why there's a ritual to actually become cleansed of the Wyrm when you come back. So you'll have people who go out on these raiding parties, and if they're captured, they could be forced to walk it. If they don't have a cairn for long enough, they could get infested too much, and then they could eventually just kind of fall into it. It's like a poison that they have to get rid of every time they go back.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's talk about Pentex's major tool.
Let's do that.
I want to talk about Banes.
I was going to bring that up. Y'all didn't get around to it yet, but
So
Here, try this new flavor of slushy. You would love it. You would love it.
It's
funny
Deadpool
enough,
flavored.
Pentex
Okay,
has
I
a
have
subsidiary
issues.
called Otali's, the family place, that actually specializes in selling worm-tainted food products. And it makes people overweight and lose ambition, which creates depression and bad feelings that Banes suck up like week-old SpaghettiOs. And that's kind of like, I remember we had a question earlier about how Pentex infests, cairns and stuff like that. And
yeah.
this is a big part of it.
Sarah
Banes.
was
Banes are a big part of it.
Banes are these
Thank you.
large, huge demon-like spirits that are like, that hang out in the Umbra, in the spirit world. What they like to do, especially, is to bond with something. And if they can bond with a human or whatever, that's when they turn into Fomori. So
Yep.
Banes are like things that werewolves are fighting in the Umbra, and sometimes they get out. The Fomori are those tainted spirits getting into somebody.
And they specifically cling to negative emotion.
They do. And
Fear.
they're not all Banes are super duper strong. There's a lot of little ones. And from what I always understood, Pentex's little infestation that they do on you lowers your resistance to it because it makes you feel these certain kinds of ways.
Okay, no dead air. So apparently Jeremiah Lassiter was a human.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yep.
founder of Pentex, and then I guess shit went downhill from there.
He was immune to it, I believe.
Yeah. He was
Storm,
always
no
so
girl,
corrupted.
you can ask all the questions you want.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. So why don't we talk about the hierarchy of Pentex?
Let's do that.
And that, I think, will be a good way to kind of go through it. I think it would be good to start off that not everybody within Pentex, even I would say less than 5% of even the top echelon, maybe 10% of like the executives knew what was going on. Everyone else is just doing a job. They might be tainted from eating there or, working there a little bit, but it's not, they're just trying to do a job. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's what the Nazis said.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, almost true.
From my understanding, is it's just corporate. It's like going to work for any big Fortune 500 company.
I'm going through
90% of the people.
The wiki here, man. None of this looks like anything healthy. So.
No, not. And essentially, it's all perpetrated by people, quote unquote, just doing their jobs, and it solely comes down to just people not really caring as long as they're getting a paycheck. And the upper echelons of Pentex, that's what they use. They use humanity to poison itself, essentially, so that they can get money and they can fight Gaia.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm just now seeing something. The Octena apparently had imprisoned a really nasty Bane there.
Yep.
Before Jeremiah came along. And then I guess that's what corrupted him. Although, from what I also see here, he was already a dick.
All right. I want to read you guys my favorite division of Pentex right out of this book because it's fucking awesome. All right, this is the division of Black Dog Games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Listen, once a dinky backporch operation, Black Dog is now the undisputed leader in role-playing games. Favorites include Zombie the Putrescence, Lycanthrope the Rapture, Warlock the Pretension, Pixie the Delusion, and Spectre the Annihilation.
Oh,
these games extol the virtues of tragic hipness, ultra-violence, and the uncoolness of regular people. Players tend to wallow in their own angst, whining about the state of their dark souls to their anti-heroes' characters' voices.
Hey, now, to be fair, I would play Warlock to be fair.
I would too.
Come on, Pixie the Delusion. I'm up for that, man.
I don't know about that hedge, man.
Oh my goodness, that was fucking funny, yo.
I don't want to talk too much about this like horrendous game, but if you can find a game called Howe, Human Occupied Landfill, if you whatever your demented imagination can think of, you can do in that game. And it's made by the actual Black Dog Games Factory. And it's great.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
no,
go
that's
out and
awesome.
find that
that's
game.
Not just great. That's awesome.
Dude, it's amazing.
No.
Right?
Okay.
It's like everything like offensive as hell is in this game.
Now, real quick. So Fomore, from everything I've ever used them for, not a lot of them are repeat uses. You know what I mean? They awaken,
No.
and it's kind of a one-shot kind of thing usually.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just the Bane comes through and it morphs them into something really bizarre. You know.
Yeah, but the other thing is that Pentex has actually managed to like bottle that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they go, okay, you're the defense team. All right, cool. What you're gonna do is do all this, but before you go, here, take a swig of this, and then they basically become Fomori from that and go, and are a big like paramilitary freaks of nature.
Okay, Simi wants to hear about the Red Network.
Ooh, hold on, man. I gotta refresh my memory on them. Action Bill. I forgot about. Hold on, man.
Is that supposed to be Scuba Steve? But
yeah, Scuba Steve. Damn it, Scuba Steve!
I mean,
Hold on, I'm gonna poop. Stop. I can't find my other fucking. Ah!
Ah, there you go. Okay, that sounded like you found it.
Otoli's, better dipped and double fried. That's Otoli's, the family place.
I mean,
You know, these guys have a much better writer than the organization that shall not be named.
Oh man.
No, somebody had some comedy background on this one. I am not joking. Somebody really, really went there, and I love it.
King Breweries and Distilleries.
Yeah, that was mentioned a little further up, but
Oh, look, there's a bigger write-up of Black Dog Game Factory.
Oh my god,
That's amazing. Oh, I know what I'm doing now. Oh gosh, I got a great idea.
Oh Jesus! All right, so
All right, guys, we're gonna sit around and play this role-playing game and everything. Is that all right? Okay, hold on. Is that a booger? I don't know. Let's sit down and we're gonna play the game.
I think if you were going to play Whole, you would have to play it as characters in World of Darkness.
well, right,
I agree.
of course you would.
Hold on, freaking goblins. No, dude. Quasi-Fomori created by long-term contact with the tainted ink of Black Dog's more mature publications. These fallen gamers possess an amazing array of strange and obnoxious powers after their change. Woe betide the aspiring Silverfang, who runs afoul of a pack of crazed, violent gamers with poor hygiene and a strange sense of joy of being able to die in a real-life scene from Lycanthrope the Rapture.
Oh man.
Okay, that's fucking funny. All right, so Shara has a side question here. Excuse me, Storm. She wants me to call her Storm. I'm gonna call her Storm. She calls me Elder. Let's do this.
The Bunyip.
By the way, hi, New Wave. I didn't get to say hi when you came in. I'm glad you met Shara. She's awesome, by the way. So,
The White Howlers were lost to the worm. The Bunyip went extinct.
Okay.
What was the other ones that are extinct?
I thought she said she thought there were 3 tribes, but there's a few other
that's what
names.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Bunyip is a tribe. The other tribe I think you're thinking of is the one in Tibet. These
Okay.
Silent Stride, not Silent. Yeah, the Silent Striders. There's no, not Silent Striders. There's one where there's like so few left. Trying to remember the name of it.
Kind of like the Salubri.
Stargazers?
Stargazers, thank you.
Stargazers. Okay, there you go. Because we've done a show on changing breeds, Storm. If you want to go back and check that out, apparently the weretrout were wiped out by the Goral.
Awesome. Sorry.
The weretrout.
Wendigo.
Yes, yeah, no, seriously, dude, it's in the changing breeds book. There were all kinds of werefish.
Fuck those fucking were-shark bullshit. Fucking were-trout. What the fuck? Oh, god damn. Don't get me started on that fucking stupid shit.
This makes me want to have were sushi.
I don't know. It's gamey.
It is. It's way too much fun. We love this shit too much, I think. Sometimes I honestly think some of us take this shit way too literally.
I feel like
the first half hour of the
squid
show
would be awesome.
Black spiral squid.
Yeah.
Black spiral squid. That could be fun.
That's right. Black spiral squid. Do. That's right. It's the squid on a plate. You put it in the oven. When you come out, it's squid. Black spiral squid.
So, okay. We've got...
Hey, Mom,
let's see, what else? Hold on. I need to look at our... let's talk about some of the subsidiaries. We've covered a couple of them, but I'd like to just touch on some of these other ones. Let's start in alphabetical order. Artist Enterprises.
Hold on, you're making me get out my book, man.
That's the point.
Oh, you're getting out of the book to address Storm's question. You could story tell them back as if they were hidden by the Nuisha in pockets, if you wanted to. The Nuisha, there's only 100 of them, and they could have been hiding in Coyote's tunnel, in somewhere remote like that, protected. And then there's like a small interbreeded like little coven, the Nuisha, the were-coyotes. They're the pranksters. They are the most obnoxious were anything you'll run into. They have the most busted gift in the entire game called Heave Ho. You can throw something, and with enough cumulative successes, make it have escape velocity.
What?
Yep.
That's craziness.
Like, you can pick someone up. I've been in a game where a Nuisha picked up a vampire, got 13 successes on the dice, and he broke like escape velocity.
Hey, Storm. I'm talking to Storm specifically. We used to play Jihad, and I refuse to call it by its new name because that's bullshit. There were 3 different options for potence as far as projectile weapons. First one was torn signpost. The second one was thrown sewer lid. And, of course, my favorite, I chuck a Buick at you.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, though. Out of all of the nasty things that go bump in the dark, Black Spiral Dancers are one of the worst.
They are. They are nasty.
They just do flat aggravated on everything. They can throw it with balefire. They have stupid amounts of physical traits. It's a huge pain.
But say, and like one of them is hard to deal with, and just God above help you if you're a different genre.
Yeah,
like even mages have issues.
Yeah. Listen, one of the first things I was taught as far as being a kindred was werewolves are bad.
Yep.
Don't ever step to a werewolf unless you got your boys with you, and even then, you might not walk away.
Now, I got a question for you. Did you play Met?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, the old school.
Right.
First edition, Mind's Eye.
To give you an idea, right, I had a character that was a worm foe, right? Literally all my job was to hunt weird, so mostly vampires.
Hey, stop messing with your baba.
I'm sorry, I will mess with my baba.
What?
Nothing. I told you to stop messing with your baba, Eric.
Oh, okay. No, shut up, dude.
So
Someone needs to get their headphones.
I was playing a
All right,
werewolf.
Oh, go ahead, man.
And so to give you an idea, the average traits for a vampire you would say would be what? Physical.
14.
14's like
Average?
high end?
Yeah, that's...
Well, I'm talking about like
I think it's
with
close
weapon
to
and
average.
everything. Like
With weapon and everything, about 14, and you
about
do what?
14
Lethal?
to 15. Yeah, and you're going to be doing lethal on a good day.
Yeah.
Mind you, this was a relatively, I would say, moderately decent, experienced character. I could, when I got into a room, I could declare this room as my fighting zone, and while I'm in it, I have 58 physicals. I'm immune to social and mental actions. I get 4 rage a turn. Every time I get hit, I generate 3 rage.
Yeah, that's
Every
when shit
time
goes sideways.
I get hit with an aggravated, I could burn the aggravated down to a lethal with 1 rage, and then down to a bashing with another. And then werewolves regenerate all bashing every turn. My rage pool was like 14.
Well, no,
And
your
I
natural
could
weapons
exceed rage.
cause aggravated.
Yeah, but I also had a bunch of gifts to make it so every time I hit you, my claws hit for 6 aggravated.
Oh,
Not
jeez.
to mention, as standing near me
All right.
within a 40-yard radius would do 1
All right,
ag every
listen,
turn.
you're writing off a bunch of numbers,
So-
and I'm starting to fall asleep, Ken.
I know. But that's,
Okay,
I was
some
trying
folks
to give
actually
the-
do appreciate numbers.
Look,
But I was just trying to,
it time are we talking about stuff again?
I get
didn't
it, but
know I
I'm
was gonna
talking
have to
about
math.
the power difference is what I was
It
trying
is.
to
It's
I
incredibly
know,
different.
Ken.
Now, an
I know
elder
you are.
might have a chance, but
All right,
most
dude,
of them.
I want to
wouldn't.
talk about this really quick because somebody said Black Spiral, Sumi said, Black Spiral dancers also bring the most mature themes to any
Yes, they
story.
do.
Okay, then I want to tell you guys about my Black Spiral dancer I made for a
Let's
game.
do this.
This is awesome. Oh, so his name, nobody, he always had 4 or 5 different first names, but his pack name was Renz the Buttocks. Now, what Renz the Buttocks believed is that the soul of a person is actually inside the coccyx. Yeah,
The coccyx.
coccyx. Thank you. Of a person, so he would have to always go in from the back to pull it out.
I have issues.
Exactly.
Not even gonna go into them right
So-
now because
That was the boogeyman. That was like the boogeyman for bad werewolves. Look, if you don't, we'll feed you to Renz the Buttocks. No.
Talk about people getting butthurt. Jesus.
yeah, right.
But hey, guys,
Yeah.
it's been good tonight. I gotta head out.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah.
I have adult things to do in the morning, unfortunately.
I'm so
but no.
sorry.
It's all right. I'm getting paid at least.
Well, yeah, true that.
But hey, thank you guys for having me on, and for the listeners here tonight, thank you for listening to me rant early on. And just as kind of a parting note, I just want to say, remember, it's just a game. Have fun and treat your other players with respect, because
Power to
that's
the
how you have a
people.
lot of fun.
Good night, Stephen.
All right, take care, guys. Have a good
Take
night.
it easy, buddy. I'll see you later, man.
Yep, take care. Bye.
Later.
All right, so we're down to 3. One of the pings I got earlier was that we are now. I was hoping to get somebody on to cover our 4th, at least until the end of the show, but apparently he had to adult today, and he is very tired. So, all right, so we're just gonna go with what we're doing.
Right on, man.
We've still got about an hour to go, so we're here. Till then, enjoy the veal.
You know what, man? Guess what I'm looking at for all this stuff, man?
What?
I'm looking at the Mind's Eye Theater Book of the Worm.
Oh, see, I only
And
two.
then I've
There
also
are
got the
only two.
The Mind's Eye Theater Journal with the Fomori in it.
Mm-hmm.
Brain Eaters. Yes.
Now I only own 2 of the Mind's Eye Theater books. One's for Vampire. Oh, 3. My bad. Laws of Elysium. I forgot. But but the other one I own a copy of the Mage Mind's Eye Theater, which
I am so
really sucked.
I am so sorry that you actually thought that was a good idea.
Well, it was then. Now is now. I didn't realize that it was going to suck as bad as it did.
I don't go to LARP so I can do trigonometry.
That's what it was, too.
Yeah, basically. And they still haven't come up with a good way to do mage in LARP groups.
No, that's not true.
Oh, I got news for you, dude.
Did you ever play Mage the Ascension as a LARP?
That's the one I have. It
The
sucked.
New World of Darkness?
Oh, not New Wad, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, my bad.
That is horrendously cool to LARP. And really simple.
I really want to play a Wraith in a LARP game. I really do. And I know it sounds kind of goofy, but something that 90% of the players in the LARP would not even interact with. I still think I could do it. But let's get back to the Pentex. And so, Autumn Health Management Systems. I mean, come on, we're going to do this. Let's do this.
I think my favorite object from Pentex was Action Bill.
Yes, that's what I was like. Where is it? Where is it? I want to talk about Action Bill.
There you go.
Action Bill, if you want to look it up, it's on page 189 of the Book of Worm. 87, sorry, 187. But 189 in the PDF.
I guess I could pull out the PDF. I hadn't even thought about that until you just mentioned it.
Action Bill. Originally airing the Vesuvius comic series and on the animated Omni TV show Action Bill and the Danger Squad. Action Bill is an 11-inch doll that can be outfitted with many items from the expensive expansion packs. The comic books have helpful tips on improvised munitions.
Improvised munitions.
Packs is the occasional bane ensconced in a worm-tainted talon. Remember, non-Garou may activate talons with willpower.
What?
The Bane talon, yep. Action Bill's special police badge. These badges allow the child one free use of the subterfuge ability, and a follow-up retest is in basic. Basically, the little kid turns into a werewolf killer for a little bit.
Okay.
It turns him into a beg for more stuff thing.
Oh, okay.
No, he gives him subterfuge and a basic gift persuasion when attempting to countermand authority figures, including Garou relatives or kin, to get otherwise what they want. The intent is to teach the child how to exert the authorities in the interest of ethics. I want more toys.
Oh, hey, there's something. I want more toys.
That's right.
Off the expansion pack. Yeah, that's what happens, man.
Cece was pretty horrible, though, the one above it.
Okay.
So, Cece and her friends Muffy, Helena, and the British Emma are dolls designed to subvert the self-image of children who play with the disproportionately thin little mannequins. Not necessarily worm-tainted. The latest of these dolls do their work with voice chips that tout the importance of being slender, pretty, and popular. Editions like the coloring book with the chips in the dolls cause them to interact with each other to the point of excluding that one child, leaving her a passive spectator and causing her self-esteem to plummet.
That's not right in any way, shape, or form.
I'm just saying, it's, it is what it is.
True that. Hold on. I'm trying. We had something fire up in the background here. Give me a second. I'm going to try and fix it. Hopefully before we lose anybody. Alright. I think that got it. Can y'all hear me okay? Oh, jeez. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Alright.
I can.
Thank you. So, we're back to, I hope we didn't have too much of a glitch there. Apparently, Windows tried to update in the background without asking me, and I lost some frames. Yeah, see, Cher caught it. Or Storm. Sorry about that, guys. See, even referring to this particular organization in the oblique manner in which I have done has also tended to trigger their wrath.
Oh, apparently they can still hear us, man.
I know, even when we're not online. I don't get it.
Oh well, let's just keep talking. They'll let us know if they can't hear us. They
Yeah,
always do.
exactly. So, okay,
Hey, guys.
I'm going to go back
Yeah.
to the wiki. I was going to pull up the. I actually have a PDF copy and didn't even think about it. It wasn't Windows that was trying to update. It was Adobe Acrobat. And I'm sorry that would had us cut out. Avalon Incorporated.
You know, I just thought of something else that they do a lot. They get involved with politics.
Oh yeah.
They buy senators with greed banes.
They also like to use a lot of like lust and
Yep,
like a lot of blackmail as well.
definitely.
Good solid corporate tactics. Yeah, okay.
You know what I was just thinking right now? Pentex would make a great thing for the new vampire game, the 5th edition.
Really?
That'd make a great organization to throw in there.
It would.
Because if you think that the Gehenna War is going on with the vampire, right?
Uh-huh.
And you think about the werewolves, Pentex becomes a huge megacorp, right?
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying? So if you throw a division of Pentex in town and say it's a biomed firm, see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And then you just start a base of operations from there. So you can actually have them be part of like the Second Inquisition type thing and screw with werewolves at the same time.
But apparently Avalon makes toys. Or Sumi says. I guess that's where the action...
Action Bill.
Okay, then you were talking about an entirely different
Action
subsidiary
Bill.
about that.
Action Bill.
I was Autumn Health Management Systems was what I was talking about, but
Oh yeah. Sorry.
yeah. And we've already covered Black Dog Game Factory, which works for me. Cronus Brands.
Not that high-end fancy crap. They're like, gold toilet shit.
There's now. What was you talking about? Or
Endron.
Yeah, no, I like that one too. I was getting to that one.
Endron International.
But
Bringing oil
Consolidex
to you.
Worldwide works too. I'm just saying.
Wait, what the fuck were we talking about?
Shara was asking about, or Storm was asking about Big Pharma.
right. So with that, you've got. Let's see here. What's the actual name?
That would be Magadon Incorporated.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a cool name.
That's
too.
Big Pharma, like kind of literally.
Yep. And Magadon uses Autumn Health Management Services to test everything.
And the Aesop Research Company and Panacea Pharmaceuticals.
And then
So- This is almost like the Illuminati card game from Steve Jackson.
dude, I still have that game, dude. I have every version
love
of that
game, dude.
I have the collectible one too.
That's some fun shit.
But no, man, they've got King Breweries and Distilleries
That's
trying to keep alcohol cool and hip. Like they're the guys behind like juice and stuff, The malt liquor in a can that's got energy drink in it. That really good idea. The heart attack in a can.
Heart attack in a can's a fun one. Wait a minute, hold up. Scott Banks says hi. Hi, Scott.
Hey, what's up, man?
you. No, I appreciate anybody who's more than willing to tolerate us for more than one show. So yeah,
Yeah,
of
I know.
course-
Dude,
no,
I mean,
New
you
Wave.
realize
You
there's
might
like-
be right about that vape
Like
thing.
The thing is that there's like 22 or some odd subsidiaries of Pentex Corporation.
We still got.
They
an hour.
literally have their fingers in everything that you can think of.
Right.
Wait
Monster
a minute.
Energy
There
drink
are-
with
okay,
new
then I'm just
zoom
gonna
added
hit
to
on the
it.
ones I like the name of.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hallahan Fishing Company, my bad.
I don't know. The Christian company seems more up their alley.
I'm sorry, man. Dad did not have my glasses on.
Even if you didn't have your glasses on, I think that one might have been a little obvious.
Might actually go by. Okay. I apologize if I offended anybody.
Remind me not to put my resume to that place, all
All
right?
right, please don't.
What do you guys do here? Well, why don't you... Yeah, I know.
Didn't you read the
Give 'em a
sign
finger,
out
they
front?
take a fifth.
Oh, my goodness.
A successful ad campaign featuring Jolly Captain Bill Hallahan has merrily misled consumers for the past few years.
You know,
Fisting
Magadon
company.
Incorporated is almost like... I have a feeling that Rush had to come into this thing at some point. Megadon. That's the name of the city that the whole 2112 sequence is about.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling that may not just be a coincidence. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold up. PCP? Politically Corrupt Productions. I love it. That's fun.
So, aside from all the different subdivisions of it, and all of them are a lot of fun, what do you think happens if you try to infiltrate Pentex?
They turn you,
Maybe.
or you become a subject in one of their crazy ass testing schemes.
Or you make them a deal.
Yeah.
There's always that. There is always that. So let's talk about the projects. Some of their major ones, apparently, like Project Odyssey.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Those are more, damn it.
Well, you look up that specificality.
Okay, what you got for us, Ken?
The if you are an actual, like, if you're just kind of some reporter trying to get inside, they're pretty good at picking out whether or not where you're at you should be wearing that kind of clothing. They're pretty good at picking out its spies. And they'll generally, as weird as this may sound, just try and push you out. They'll try and keep you out of stuff because it's too much effort to cover up, like, reporter deaths. But if you're another, like, if you're a vampire or a werewolf and you're getting nosy, or you're causing problems, like, let's say you decide to bomb a facility, depending on the facility that you get into, you could get hit with the first strike team, which is usually, they're pretty strong. But, like, if you are the biggest pain in their side, they will send what's called Team Prime at you, which is, I would say, one of the worst things that could get sent at you. Like, think corporate level Black Spiral Dancers and Humans and Fomore that have been around
Kindred
for
and vampires.
Yeah, everything. And their entire goal is to protect the interests of the company. They've got a couple BSD in it just for muscle. They got some vampires in there to get their toes in that. Humans for that. Fomore, psychics to control things. It's a lot. So.
Okay, yeah, I guess I oddly did not see this question until just now, but I've already started on that, the projects. So I hope that if Sumi or anybody has any questions about the projects, that we should, try to address them at some point. Let's see. All right, so we're back to I'm live again with the chat. Yeah, no, to be honest, man, it took me a minute because for some weird ass reason, I guess, this is why we're trying to do the upgrade, guys. And it's not. We want to be able to give you guys the best show we can. So, and hopefully by next show, we'll actually have a brand new broadcast machine, courtesy of our wonderful friend here, Ken, by the way. So everybody clap, or whatever the hell you do for clapping as far as text, but let's do that. Yeah. So show my man how much we appreciate what he's doing. All right. Oh, hold on, Simi. We're getting there. Their projects don't seem to be as many of those. But I'd really like to get back with Project Odyssey, since we didn't actually talk about it. Apparently, it's about recruiting psychics for some weird ass fucking reason. Let's talk about that weird ass fucking reason as far as shows are, this particular company is concerned. What would they use their psychics that they recruit for?
They're part of the special projects division, and they're the people that handle. I mean, basically, Pentex is prepared to take on absolutely any threat. Right? If there's something as a threat, they will send in these teams of just bad things to destroy it, and then it'll never come back again. It'll be completely erased by the time they get back. They're like SEAL Team 6 that you never even hear or know anything about.
No black choppers, just in and out, and you're dead.
Exactly. It was a UFO. It was swamp gas.
Okay. Ken? Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us a little bit about Project Iliad? Since it seems to be Fomori based.
The one I know more about is Project Lycoan.
Okay, we'll get to that then. So, Eric, talk to us about Project Iliad.
I'm trying to.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's just no. Everything I have is spread around in this book, so I'm just trying to catch myself up real quick. My apologies.
Yes, Adam. That was the whole feeling I was getting from doing what, the little bit of research I was able to do prior to the show, was that, Wolfram and Hart, man, that seems to be fucking Pentex all over the place. What do you guys think?
The whole point of them is that they've got their hands in absolutely everything. Trying to find this projects. Anyway, they've got their hands in absolutely everything, so they're a threat to everyone. They just adapt themselves to whatever they might need, and their sole goal is to infest as much of the population as possible with different banes, different spirits of evil or bad things, just into the population, so that basically the worm infests the world more and more and more.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
so
Ken.
They're the smiling face of the lawyer and the judge that's about to send foreclose on your house.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, it does. It makes better sense than you could even possibly imagine. So, all right, Ken, this is you, dude. Right. Project however, whatever.
So what this was them trying to extract DNA from different breeds of shapeshifters, right? So the primary ones are werewolves, Anurana, Samsa, Karasi, and Yeren. Those are kind of the big ones. Werewolves, I would say, would be the most typical one. When you think like a werewolf movie, like horror movie,
What is it? American Werewolf in London, something like that.
like War Dogs kind of thing, right?
The
They
Howling.
are always hungry, and the only way they feel satiated is on kinfolk or werewolves or guru of any kind. So they spend most of their lives in near starvation, and they can only be in either lupus form or Kranos form. They don't have any other form.
No human form at all. They just,
No.
Okay.
They are about as intelligent as a starving dog.
Not good.
No, but they're very much a war form, thing. They're mean. They're pretty rude. The Anurana is basically a werefrog. It was deemed a failure.
Okay.
The goal of them was to put him in the sewers to mess with the Bonars.
But the French would have wiped them out.
Well, But they only had Hamid and Metis form. They didn't have anything else, right?
Yeah.
And they could step through the veil and everything, but they had to do it through water, I think swamp water. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So it's kind of weird. I'm sorry, they also have, they only have two breeds, Hamid and Metis. They have three forms, Hamid, Anaran, which is roughly the same thing as Glabro, and Dragon, which is roughly the same equivalent as Krynos.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of like the were-dragons, but like a really shitty version of them. And they're just dumb. They're very dumb. They didn't get anywhere with them.
So, okay, did you say the DNA from different breeds? DNA from different tribes?
Like different tribes, different species of shapeshifters.
Okay, so here's what I'm imagining with this: is there's this scientist, okay, who's bitching in a corner to some executive about how he can't get what he needs, and they know they're going to make a ton of money for it. So the guy makes a phone call to the security desk, right? And he says, something like, "All right, send out the team," right? And then, you see another phone call for like the Black Ops program, and it's this guy, it's another black spiral dancer. It says, "Runs the buttocks here, sir."
Yeah, right? Okay, so what?
I need you to retrieve the DNA from this one. Okay.
Right? Sticks his hand up your butt.
And then it's a summer blockbuster after that. Runs the buttocks.
I think we found who runs the fisting clinic.
Yes, apparently we
Exactly.
did. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Y'all, no, I'm serious, man. I'm having a hard time breathing because that shit's funny. No, okay, so what makes Project Like Howlin' different from Section 12?
Well,
Section 12, Section 12, Section 12, Section 12.
for Section 12, I mean, I'd have to say that this one in particular, the Lycoan, was just specifically for them to try and take the strongest parts of the shapeshifters and turn them into a weapon they can use. The problem with that is that because generically everything that's a shapeshifter, except for the Black Spiral Dancers, is a spiritual thing, it's hard to recreate it completely. Personally, for me, the Anasazi are an obnoxious shapeshifter to fight because they have a crawlerling form.
Yeah.
Right? They tried to replicate that with Samsa, and basically they have a single thing that it's basically a cockroach, a were-cockroach.
Okay. Not a good way to go, as far as the R&D department.
Yeah. And they have two forms. They can be a human or they can be a nightmarish 8-foot-tall bipedal cockroach.
Oh, jeez. Oh, oddly enough,
They
most
were-
kindred would run from that.
They were trying to make like the little crawling form so they could have like the perfect spies and the perfect assassins. Failed it completely. Made the bug from like Men in Black.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. So, all right, let's move on to Project Aeneid. Apparently, combine the Iliad and the Odyssey is the only reference I'm getting here.
I'm still trying to find where you're finding these different projects. Yeah, I'm serious, man.
The wiki?
No, I don't, dude. I look at books, man.
I know.
I read
If
books.
you're
What's
wanting-
wrong with you?
Paper. That's what's wrong with me.
I don't remember things by. I scroll some shit on the web.
No, okay. I
God
get
damn
that.
it, you kids and your internets and fucking your
I know.
Facebooky shit.
It really
Hush your
started
fucking
with my
mouth.
Kindle when I found out I could carry 14,000 books around with me at any given point in time and do other shit too, as like watch movies, etc. That was when I decided that I was going to try and steer away from the paper companies, making silly amounts of money off of these books. And these books are the binding cost alone on these books is craziness. It really is. I'm talking about the big ass White Wolf books in general, any of them.
That's why I like the ones I have.
Yeah, I
I
like
could
the
take
ones
them off
I
the
have
shelf
too.
and look at them.
But some of them apparently are obsolete at this point, and I have issues with buying another book to replace it. Don't mind me. It's just me ranting.
Oh, hey, man. What about the Giovanni presence in Pentex?
Yes, let's talk about that because I am fond of the Giovanni, relatively speaking.
Well, I had to convince you of a little bit of that first.
Okay, New Wave. She said, "You goddamn kids in your interwebs, the dead tree copy is the only way."
Exactly.
I mean,
Uphill both ways in the snow, and I'm
Yes.
sitting here with a copy of my book, and I'm gonna beat me.
Yeah, true. No, you could actually hurt somebody
Sit
with
down,
one of these
Grandpa.
books.
Sit down, Grandpa. Eat your pudding. Eat your
Yeah.
I
pudding.
will say there is something to having like 6 or 7 books splayed out on your floor, just kind of reading.
That could be fun, and I back in the day, that's what we used to do. When you had to have the DM's guide and the play and the monster manual and everything open, and so that you could switch back and forth.
Ken used to come over to my house, and we did that.
Mm-hmm.
With a bunch of and my cat would tear ass through the house and mess up the books all the time.
It's always awesome.
That
He's
cat's
like-
still around. He's still a little asshole too.
See, you
Either
throw
that or I
dice and
sit
then they
on
just
the other
lose it.
one.
Yeah, that's true.
And he would just let it happen. And I'd be there for like 30 minutes, and then I'd get up and he'd be like, "Oh."
So, apparently, Sumi has a Harbingers equals or is better than the Giovanni.
Truth hurts.
Truth hurts.
Well, yeah.
Nobody gonna argue that, but that's beside the point.
That's like saying the guy in prison is stronger than the guy outside of prison. He's bored. He's got stuff to do in there where he can work out. I'd rather have my freedom.
Exactly. Works for me.
Being buried in some underground city, eating everything around me.
Oh my goodness, we're just going there tonight.
The only clan I never got to play in one of Eric's games as an NPC, and I'm still bitter about to this day, is a Kismet.
That's not a clan.
Yeah, it is.
No, what the fuck was that?
Wait a minute, hold up. I thought I knew Every clan.
What the fuck is
Kismet
that?
is the Fey-touched clan.
Keosids.
Keosids.
No, Keosids. No,
Oh,
Kismet's their power.
yeah, okay.
That's what it
Well,
was.
yeah, okay, you're right. I have heard of it.
Keosids.
Yeah.
Kismet was their power, if I'm not mistaken. I only read it like a few times in one of your books, and I really wanted to play it. But I think the only reason you wouldn't let me is because I think they have to be 5th gen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to be
Really
old, and they also don't go out.
What's their clan?
They're
discipline?
Sabat.
Huh?
I thought they were independent.
No, what's
No.
their clan discipline?
Kismet, I want to say, is I think they're actual. I think that's what I was confusing.
I think it's one of the powers of it.
Oh, is that the name of the power?
Okay. For the Tremere, it's thaumaturgy. For
Yeah.
the fucking hell. For I'm looking at the actual discipline, and I can't remember which clan I'm talking about. Nosferatu, obfuscate. You know what I'm saying now?
They have dominate, obtenebration, and mythiceria.
That's the clan discipline. Yeah, what I can't remember what that one does.
And it has Fey Sight, Cold Roll, Darkling Trickery, Goblinism, Changeling Ward. They can become immortal for up to 1 day.
Really? That's not really immortal now, is it?
You can permanently take ability ranks from a victim,
Oh, now that could be handy.
remove memories.
I thought that was dominate. That was one of their things.
No, there's other things to it, but
You
it's
can
like
rewrite people's memories, man.
Yeah. You can place symbols that confuse and mess things. They can aura absorb. They can remove the resonance from an object.
That means they could actually suck the dark taint out of the Diabolist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course. I know
Sorry.
why you were
don't ever want to hear those 3 words put together like that again.
I don't know. We had some good times finding them fays and cracking open one and drinking the blood.
Crack open a cold. Oh god.
Drinking blood from a fey, then drinking blood from a werewolf right after
No,
leads you on the worst fender bender of your life.
no. It mean as soon as you drink, lupine garou blood, you frenzy.
To a degree. You can fight it
That's
a
a
little.
masquerade violation, yo.
Well, if you're Sabat, who cares?
That is true. That is true.
It's called having a good time. Don't poop on my party.
How dare you?
No, Adam. He said dark taint. Okay, he said sucking on a dark taint.
Yeah, sucking out the dark taint from a Diablerist was the original sentence. And
I mean,
because
the
that's
dark
the one
teeth
way
beckons
you
all.
know for sure Kindred has actually Diablerized someone is you have aspects that can tell and read aura. You know, basically that's the way this works. And
it only works on objects, though. He can't do it to people.
Oh, well then never mind.
Yeah, he doesn't suck the dark taint.
Okay, girl.
Now we're going back to Phil runs the buttocks.
Blood of the werewolf is toxic to a kindred in the sense that it causes you to
frenzy.
There is poisonous blood gifts that they can use to. If you drink from them, it actually causes straight aggravated damage per blood of
Oh, I did not know that.
blood you drink.
That's fun.
Well, the Sabat will routinely try and capture pup werewolves, and they'll feed on them before they go on some crazy attack. Yeah. Now I will say this though: the reason why they do it is depending on the purity of the blood. if you run into someone, if you've got a werewolf who's a pure blood 5, it gives you, for as long as you have their blood in your system, you get 3 dots of celerity, 3 dots of fortitude, and 3 dots of potence, I want to say.
Yeah, it sounds about right, but wow. I did not.
But you can't, like, it's impossible to resist that frenzy. Like, it's because it's nuts. But, and those traits will exceed, in the tabletop version anyways, your current dots. Now, Met, it was a little different because you actually get powers, not just extra dice.
Yeah.
But in the tabletop version, you just get 3 extra dice to all your physical bloodlines, which is kind of
What's the Fey Blood one? What that one does?
It makes you crazy and see shit.
Oh, that's it. That's right. It was just sort of random weirdness and hallucinations.
Yeah.
Which can also trigger frenzy if they have, like Rot Shrek or some craziness. Oh my God, I see a flame that they think their pants are on fire or something.
Yeah.
That would be. See, I keep going there tonight, and I don't mean to.
Yeah,
it is not helping.
Dude, I mean, if it's on fire down there, they make cream for that, all right?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Feels
but
good
in
on
general,
the whole.
Good on crackers.
Whole crackers?
No, those are real fancy, though.
You talking crackers like white people crackers?
No, he's talking about things like Captain's wafers or some craziness. Just good crackers, not bad crackers.
Oh, man, chicken in a biscuit.
Chicken in a biscuit.
That's awesome.
They actually
Those
do
have to be made by Pentex. They are too good.
Of course,
Exactly.
I don't know how much heroin they put in them either. I've just recently came across some. It's from I forget the name of the company, and I don't have a can hand. Yes, I do. Hold on, never mind. It's called Deja Tea, and they do a peach tea that chases vodka like nobody's business. It is one of the tastiest things ever, and if you mix the two together in a glass, you'd get wrecked because you wouldn't ever taste the vodka. So I suspect that Pentex had some sort of hand in the developing of this, because that's what I told the girl the other day. I said, I don't care how much heroin they have in it, I like it. Okay, Storm wants to talk about crossovers for a few minutes. And since we're about 20 minutes out, let's just go. We'll answer as many questions as we can.
Actually, Pentex works awesome for crossovers.
I was going to say that. But she's specifically asking about Scion.
I'm not 100% sure, but Scion is basically god-based characters, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a god.
Yeah, they're celestials.
Right. I would amuse myself with the thought that if you drink celestial blood as a vampire, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's the same thing as, like, getting stabbed with a shard of Helios. You don't do it.
You just don't.
Like, if you told me that I was going to drink blood from someone and it was a god-based character, or if I knew, like, it's like Hercules, I would send the thing that I don't care about first. Try it.
New Wave says that apparently Pentex had a hand in Nutella as well, and I have to agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that. There's just all kinds of cool stuff that you'd have, the nutritional value has zero to do with it. It's just awesome.
As far as, when I was reading that thing, I don't know if Scion was out yet. When it has that, like, what happens when you drink blood from other things. So, I mean, really, you could make it whatever you want. So if they drink from a son of Helios, it burns them. If they drink from, I don't know, Poseidon, maybe it waters out their blood a little bit. I guess you could really just kind of...
If you drink from Poseidon, were-sharks come out of nowhere.
Yeah, fuck those ropes,
Were-trouts.
And were-trout. Or where
Maybe that's where trouts come from. I don't know.
I guess.
But,
but apparently, also, here's assuming Diablerized only works on Kindred. It's technically not Diablerization if you suck another denizen's lifeblood kind of situation. At least that's the impression. But no, the question was originally Diablerize a Scion and achieve a Golconda. I said, yeah, if you could actually pull that off, that would probably work.
I mean, I would say you'd have a better chance becoming a hybrid than you would achieving Golconda through Diablerization of a Scion.
Now, I have asked multiple times when we've done some of these, the demon shows specifically, and I would like, are there celestials, which are like the diametrically opposed critter than demons?
Aren't they still technically demons, though?
Yes, they are.
Okay, then
they just don't remember a lot of their past.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then,
and they rely on
not
the faith of others.
Yeah.
So there are no celestials at all.
Well, there's like spirits that are like that. If you want to like go into that kind of thing, but
I'm talking about angels, dude.
I mean, as far as angels, I mean, demons are just fallen angels, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But the other thing is that the angels are all gone on purpose.
Yeah,
because God just threw down His ball and went home.
Their punishment was to spend eternity in nothing.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they never come up.
There could be celestials in the sense that it's a demon who just doesn't know he's a demon, and he's just
that has been mentioned. So, all right. For the guys in the channel, you got more questions. You got 18 minutes. So, I'm saying this now because y'all are on a 30-second delay pretty much from what's actually said when it's said. At least that's what I get.
I would also say for Scion, though, it would depend on the strength of the Scion. Because how about strong?
You know what I usually like to say sometimes about this? How about no?
Yeah, that's also an option too. But she's talking about from an ST perspective.
Exactly.
She wants to take this as a RP kind of thing, or a game kind of thought. So.
And she's actually trying to run, a brand new, well, not brand new game system because she's known about the system for quite some time, but she's actually trying to run a werewolf game, or at the very least, a Pentex.
See, one of the interesting things is that you don't have to choose like one game. Here's what I mean: is that if you take like just one system and make that your main characters, you can use whatever field that you want with it. So if you want to have like Scions come in, or demons or anything else, if you just use the one system you have, it makes that sort of thing a whole lot easier.
Also, Sumi, I think wanted to, and I have a feeling that that's going to be his show. Is we're going to talk about, the message I sent him via Patreon earlier. He wants to do, and I cannot remember exactly what it was. It sounds like, it does sound like a good show. It seems like it would be a relatively interesting show, which at first glance wouldn't feel that way. But anyway, crossovers in general, and I think that's what it was. Maybe not, but I've been saying for 2.6 years now is that these systems were designed to interlock. It gives you the ability to bring Kindred of the East into a Wraith story. Or
no, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I would like to add that there's a side note of be careful of what you let your player base play.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Kindred of the East is way stronger than your run-of-the-mill vampire.
Yeah, the Quajin, yeah. No, his was the one I mentioned earlier in the show was about the best and worst NPCs in the World of Darkness. I mentioned that to y'all. So
I will tell you what the worst NPC in the World of Darkness is and always has been. Samuel Haight.
really,
Yes.
what you don't think Jan
No. He was a guy who had the powers of every single thing in the World of Darkness.
What, Kane?
No, everything.
Well, that's the thing is Kane.
He was a normal mortal who became a mage. Then after he was a mage, he then did another spell to become a werewolf. Then once he was a werewolf, he was bitten by a vamp, and so on and so on and so on.
Oh, now that's just not right.
That was very early on, second edition stuff, but it was the worst
No,
idea
that ain't
ever. That rose to the whole thing during Revise was like, okay, that's a big no. No, you can't do that.
But
And
we're going to
we're
do a
coming-
whole show, and Simi's going to be on that show about the NPCs. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm going to get with him at some point to schedule when is best for. Seems like he's good for pretty much any of the same nights that we're doing the show live. So I think we can do that. Our next show is going to be on Wraith 20. That one's going to be fun, but we lost one of our go-to guests for that, and so we're going to have to drum up a couple of other ones.
To answer Sumi's other question, as far as interesting experiences with Pentex, I gave an interesting one to my player base when I was running a game of Puppy. Now, Pentex does this thing where they do extremely altruistic, actions that are veiled as other shit. And so I had Pentex scientifically engineer a cheaper, more effective, and more shelf-stable version of plasma.
Ooh.
And the problem is anyone that uses it, right, becomes like a part of a network kind of thing, like this vein network, right? And so what it would let the Banes do is whenever you're within proximity, it was like 100 yards of somebody else with the network, it would triple their speed of movement. Right?
Wow.
And so it becomes this huge problem, right? But the problem is now as a werewolf group, you have to try and stop something in the human world that is saving lives because it's actively working. They're putting it out for free, right? So they're having to fight the social construct of the good guy. And I think that's probably one of my more interesting it wasn't a tracker, it would give them a little baneling that would guide them. And the baneling had an aura of 100 yards that whenever another bane in it would have faster movement, around them. So when they would get to the populace, anyone who got blood transfused, they did it with saline after that. So anyone who ever had saline in them, blood transfusions, anything that did with bodily fluids going into them, had this baneling on it.
So, yeah, I guess Storm's asking, so it's like a tracker.
Kind of, lightly. Yeah. But the whole idea was it made combating them really hard because they were super fast.
Yeah.
This is a really weird tangent, but I'm a king of those.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a really bad movie from the 80s called The Stuff?
Yes! I love that movie.
Dude, if you think about it as a Pentex experiment for a Bane,
Oh my!
The Stuff would be a great plot. This stuff is great. Oh my gosh. Oh, I will come kill you. I mean, dude, throwing up marshmallow fluff, that was great. But yeah, it eats the whole town and blobs away.
Yep. And they didn't have the budget to make this stuff any other color than white. It was
Yep.
craziness.
As I always felt running Pentex in a game, applying the first hit is always free kind of concept to their products works pretty well. Just as a side note.
If you think about it like Office Space.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know? They'll send a new hire over to a different company and then start pulling the stuff that the guy does with like unscrewing his desks. And,
Yes.
I just don't feel like going in today, okay? Thanks.
We really need you to come in on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Really?
I'd have slapped the taste out of his mouth and quit.
Yeah, we're going to need you to clear your desk off
Yes,
this
we
morning.
will. As soon as I slap taste
I
out
really,
your mouth.
really appreciate that. Yeah.
So, anywho, yeah,
Lumberg.
we're at 151, and I hope that everybody in the live channel had a good time tonight. That's what we go for here, and I'm pretty sure the folks that are in the as guests and co-hosts here are also having a good time. I'm gonna have to get a report from Eric to see if Steven had a good time. Sounded like he did anyway.
Oh yeah, he did.
So, is there anything else about Pentex that we haven't touched on?
Not really, man. I mean, we were pretty on it there.
I would say that in the upper echelons, there's a paramilitary aspect to it a little bit when it comes to their brute force. But aside from that, it's all money and greed and to bring down the world and then rebuild it and control what's left. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Who is Harold Zettler? Is that the Giovanni?
No.
Zettler was in charge of the
Enron?
Huh?
Enron?
Oh, he's Malkavian. Malkavian anti-tribute, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and
No. Zettler, he's anti-tribute. He's the guy who goes out and talks to, he's the one that uses the Sabbat.
okay. But I'm pretty sure that they'll write his ass out if they redo the Pentex stuff for Werewolf, because he's a Nazi and people can't deal with that.
Right.
Even a reference to a Nazi. We can't even deal. Listen, people, they were part of our world at some point, and Kindred, on the other hand,
And they made great villains.
Yeah. And Kindred in general had no problem turning anyone, much less Nazis, It's like, holy shit, I can think of a couple of clans that would have turned a Nazi in a heartbeat.
There's some Get Fenris Nazis out there as well, so it's not just werewolves.
Yeah.
Vampires, werewolves too.
But no, we can't even say the word anymore without somebody being triggered.
It'll get better.
No, I don't.
But I wanted to say real quick, one thing I discovered here in looking at the different games with the new Vampire 5th is that you can use a lot of the different city building books and stuff from the New World of Darkness to build cities for 5th. It's almost the same system.
Okay.
So you can actually create a bunch of really cool stuff.
Yeah, and it looks apparently Zettler is he's the current leader of the Special Projects Division of Pentex. So he's still kicking around. Or at least that's what Sumi says, and I'm going to take his word for it, because I didn't read that far down the page. I'm sorry. I was just trying to come up with, 9 minutes worth of stuff to talk about before we go off the air. Sometimes it does. We hang out, at the end of the show, and we tend to really tangent. So, ladies and gentlemen in the channel, if you've got any questions, now's the time to get them in. He is still in the 27th edition of the Pentex Employee Handbook. So I guess 3 words in the Vampire 5th is, oh my God! But a Nazi who's still on the board of directors of Pentex is perfectly acceptable.
Eric, the city builder, it's not a mapping system, it's just like a populace and stuff generator, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like you make different zones, and the zones, if you can't figure out what to do, you can assign it different traits and stuff like that.
So it'll have this zone will have 2 dentists and
3 dots in this, 4 dots in this, so on and so forth. It's just a way to really do that. It's the name of the book is called Damnation City.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So using the stuff in that book actually blends right in with the new system of how they do domains and stuff like that, and how to build a city.
Yeah, Storm actually does some really good maps. Fantasy mostly, but she's actually gotten rather good at it. And I asked her, I want to say maybe 6 months ago now, if she could have done me up a playable map of New York City, and she said that she didn't do modern day. So I'm hoping this may change her mind about doing some modern day mapping as well, specifically because, come on, ladies and gentlemen, even if you're playing Werewolf, we're where we are. This is 2018.
Yeah, but just go down to the gas station, buy a map.
I know. Yeah. See, no, I'm talking about something like used for, say, Roll20, so that you could put, your characters. Since most of us don't live even in the same city, where we would want to play with folks that are interested in playing the game that you're running or whatever. And nowadays it's all Roll20, or what's the other one? They do a lot on Discord, a couple of other things, but I needed, I was in the needing a modern day map of New York that I could drop a character token on for Roll20 specifically. So that you can say, all right, yeah, I'm on this side of the street, you're on this side of the street, we're going to start shooting at each other, kind of thing.
As far as the mapping goes, you can find maps in, I would suggest, other countries that aren't labeled. That just have streets and stuff like that, and then you can label them yourself as you go throughout the thing. There's that is always an option. But I think what you were talking about, Eric, to put a finer point on it, is you're basically giving it trait values of an area, right?
Right, mechanics.
Okay.
Right. It's not actually generating any kind of map. It's just, this is a seedy part of town. So there's there's large amounts of larceny there.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain media presence there, stuff like that, right?
Right, basically, more or less. Yeah. So if you get stuck with I don't have an idea for where these guys are going, you just go okay, and then you can pull stuff out of your ass real quick.
Right.
I get that. So, all right, guys, we're at the end of the show. I want to thank my guests, Stephen and Ken, and of course my wonderful co-host, Brother Eric. And
There you go.
super happy to have all the folks in the chat tonight. You guys kept it lively. This is awesome. I'm glad I'm still doing what I'm doing, even after what happened last night. So I'm not going to worry about it anymore. You guys care enough about what we do to be here. I care enough about y'all to be here too. That's what we're going to do. So, guys, I think we should say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, Eric.
Night.